Hey guys, it's Rachel here at From Moments to Milestones, and we are going to put together our latest paper pad card kit. We use the Echo Park Farmers Market paper pad and created 7 cards. So this is what a kit looks like. You get the remainder of your pad, instructions, supply list at the back. So we will go ahead and get started with this fun little card that's going to stand up like that, featuring a Windorama die from Stampendous. So we'll get started with that one. All right. So you have these kits are full of tiny little bits because of the different flowers and stuff. So be careful when you open them and try to keep track of everything. You also have a piece of acetate that would be easy to be lost. All right, so I think just to get some of this out of the way, let's go ahead and layer up our daisies. So you have this piece of Post-it tape, and I believe it's wrapped in press and seals to kind of help those pieces not disappear. So you can peel that off, throw that away. And then what I'm going to do is these centers will go on the daisies. So make sure all your daisies are right side up. And I'm just going to put glue in the centers of them. And then this largest red flower also has a white center, which is also on here. So some of these are upside down when we die cut them. So flip it over, stick that on. I'm going to take all of these off and put them in front of me, and then just lay them on top of the glue. All right. 1, 2. I just love these daisies. They just add so much. You don't have to shape them or color them. They have the embossing lines. This is a die from Spellbinders, a fairly new one. I think it's called Spring Blooms or Blooms and Sprigs. I'm going to check for you real quick. Mini Blooms and Sprigs, that's what it's called. Very cute. Comes with these flowers here and these greenery pieces. All right, so now that those are put together, I'm just gonna put them up here out of the way while we make our card. So then you have these 2 panels that kind of fold. They have score lines, and these are cut with this Stampendous die. It also comes with that jar cut out. So what I want you to do is take the white, one of them, like your kit may look like this where one's already folded in. So go ahead and fold both of them in, and you can reinforce with a bone folder. Okay. And then on this one with the mason jars, you're going to fold away from the front. So it'll be like that. And then it's really going to sit like so to be put together. So we'll start here. I'm going to use score tape. You can use wet glue too if you want. Actually, I think I will use wet glue so I have a little bit of wiggle room. So what you want your card to be able to do is fold flat like so that it can slide into an envelope. And if we put these pieces on too tight, then it may not want to fold flat. So you want to do that keeping that in mind. And so you can see how there's like a very thin white strip there when you glue that down. I mean, I have it so that it's folded and catching, and that's perfect. So you can do it like that. And what I would do is just hold this down. I'm going to lift up that flap, put my adhesive down, and then just lay it down like so. So as long as you can still see a little bit of that white on the first side that you glue, whether it be the other side or this side, then you're gonna have enough room for that. Okay, so right now we're just gonna glue one side so we can build the inside. So it's gonna look like this. Okay, and you have a blue strip of paper, and you're gonna glue that right into the center of the white opening there. Alright, so the blue gingham right in the center, and you will have some white on either side of it. Alright, you'll have white on either side of where it folds, but that's okay. And now what we're going to do, using this as kind of a guide, we're going to layer up those, I hope the glare isn't bad, let me see. We're going to layer up those daisies in there, okay? So I'm really going to start with the 2 sprigs. And actually, since there's no window in there yet, I can kind of play around right on top. Like so. And then I did pop up 2 of the larger daisies. You're gonna need to cut down, I cut down a foam square into 4ths to be able to do that because they're very small. All right, so I put that little 1/4 of a foam square on the back of my daisy. And I'm gonna kind of use them, it's kind of like so. I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. I'm just going to put a little glue in case I want to move it. But really, I kind of have them both, one on one side, one on the other, and just kind of pointing out and down like so. And then let me get another foam square for the back. All right, put those in here like this, very cute. And then I'm just gonna tuck the other flowers behind. But we do have the red flowers, so I also put those on foam. So I'm gonna use 1 full square on this big one. And I'm gonna tuck that one right there, okay. And put this, let me see, I'm going to put this one here, and then I'm going to put the red one here, and then it needs a little red over here, so I like to do triangles of color. Glue keeps bubbling up and then nothing's coming out. There we go. And then way too much comes out. All right, so I have my flower arrangement, so it looks something like that. And while that is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and put my acetate on the back of this jar opening. So you can use wet glue if you want. I'm gonna use some more double-sided adhesive, as it is a good hold and it's quick and it won't seep out onto the acetate, because even though it dries clear, you'll still be able to see that, and I don't want to see that. Just gonna burnish it on there and make sure it's got a good stick. Peel it off. Okay. Put that acetate on there. Make sure it's all covered up. Okay. And here it's kind of sticky because I I didn't quite center it just right. So what I'm gonna do is take a power tool and go over that. That way when my card folds like this, it's not gonna stick. All right, we're good now. Okay, so now we need to completely fold this card. So now we're gonna slide it over this way and do that same trick. So I'm gonna put down the adhesive and then close it onto itself. Now we have this cute, I fold it back this way, make sure it, now see, what did I do? Oh, I know what I did. It's the, I got my acetate over in that score way, but I got it fixed. Acetate does score, so we're good to go there. But be mindful of that. Hopefully get it in the right place. Okay, so that one's ready. And now I'm gonna put the jar lid on, the label, and the sentiment. So on your jar lid, it's got these little stitch marks there. That's kind of your upside, although I don't think if you put it on wrong, anybody would know. So I'm going to fold mine down flat to get it where I want it. Make sure it's straight. All right, and now the label. It's just gonna go right above the flower arrangement. There we go, and we're gonna finish with the sentiment. Right in the middle. Whoops. All right. And that cute little window Rama card is finished. All right, our next card is Birthday Wishes, this cute little truck. And this is a new Spellbinders die as well, just released in September. Called Through the Woods. It's actually Christmas theme die, but we're going to use just the truck without the trees. Pull that out of the paper today. I think it'll be really cute. So we're going to go ahead and put together our truck so it can kind of dry and before we put it on our card. So you have all these little bits, kind of looks like this, and these are all your truck parts, and then you have a flower and a flower center. So, and you also have, which is extremely hard to see right here, you also have a piece of vellum, and that's going to go over the window in your truck. We have the tailgate. This is a flower, can go over here with the greenery. And then you have this little post-it, and those 4 gold circles are your taillights, and the blue piece is your flower center. So let's get this all put together before we lose anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of wet glue around the back of the window. Okay. And I'm going to put that, actually you're going to want to cut off the 2 so it looks like that. And then it should fit right inside. And if it doesn't, you can just trim off the edges. I see mine's a little long. And I'm just gonna come in here and trim that off. And now you have a window on your truck. Okay. And then these are your wheels. Zoom in a little bit. All right, so these are your wheels. And so I'm going to take the truck, I'm going to flip it over and put a very thin, my glue is just too full, a very thin bead of glue. And I'm going to stick it right on top of the, and it's going to look like that. You're going to still see a little bit of the black sticking out, and that's okay. That's what this is, the bumper, and we're going to cover it up. All right, so it's going to look like that. And now we're going to take another thin bits of glue, and we are going to put our little bumper on like this and just lay it right over. And now we're going to cover up those parts of the black that we were seeing before. Perfect. I'm just going to scrape off some of that glue. All right. And now you have these 4 itty bitty tail lights. So I'm going to carefully pop them off so they're right side up on my surface here. Right. Here's my smaller end. All right. So those are going to go on the sides here. You're going to have one little here and here, and that is way too much glue. Oops, wrong lid. Okay, so let's see if I can take some of that off. All right, so the bigger circle goes on the bottom. It will dry clear. It will dry clear. I keep telling myself that. And then this little one right here. I'm just gonna at least flatten it out a little bit. Okay. So there's my tail lights. I'm gonna make sure they're even while you still got some wiggle room. Okay. All right, so the last piece is the tailgate, and I am going to pop that up just to give it some dimension. So flip it over, and those will just fit on there. I'm just gonna put 2. And it's just gonna go right there in the center. All right, there is our cute little truck. I'm gonna set that aside while we build the rest of the card. Well, before I end up losing this flower center here, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on as well. All right. Okay, to build this card, we are going to first take this farm collage piece of paper, and we're going to put it, make sure our card's open in the right way. We are going to put it right here, and it's going to have a white border on the top, bottom, and the side. So it's not going to go all the way to the edge. Even white border, okay. And now we're gonna take our black, and it's gonna go to the edge on the top and the bottom. And there will be a slight gap here, and that's okay. We're gonna cover that up. we have this red strip here, but this piece isn't long enough. So what we're gonna do is cut it in half, glue half to the top, half to the bottom, and then nobody's gonna know. We're gonna cover it up. We're just trying to use up our scraps in the paper pad, and this is a good way to do that. So this one, and it really butts up right next to, or you can have it overlap if you want. Actually, I think I'm gonna have it overlap. Whatever you do, just do it the same on the top and the bottom. Oops, I put the side I cut on the bottom. I need a straight edge. Go. It's gonna look like that, and then we're gonna cover that up. Nobody's gonna know that that big hole is there, and this is gonna go like so. So my suggestion here is to go ahead and glue this banner to the front of your circle. So I'm just gonna put a little glue at the bottom like that. And I'm gonna center it on there, and you can kind of use the wood grain as a guide to keep it straight. But on the back, like that bottom of that circle is coming almost to the edge of that banner. So that helps for placement. And now we're gonna pop the whole thing up. So I'm actually gonna use foam. Put that in the top center of our card. All right. And now to finish, we're gonna glue this cute little truck right there. I'm not gonna put glue on the vellum because I don't want that to show. I'm right where I want them. All right. And we will finish with this cute little daisy and some leaves here. So I'm just gonna him kind of right where the circle and the banner meet, and then I'm going to tuck the leaves in behind. I'm going to put one right there, and then the other one I'm actually going to glue flat to the card and just give a little bit more dimension, so I'm going to put it back there. All right. That sweet card is finished. All right, next we have, I zoomed in, so we'll zoom out a little bit. Okay, now we have sending hugs. Get all of our little bits out of there. All right, so like I said, be careful when we're opening these. There's lots of pieces to be lost. This one also has a vellum piece. I think all of your flowers are on a piece of Post-it tape, so that should help. So you should have 5 red flowers. I believe 4 leaves, 2 big ones and 2 small. And then you have this Post-it with 5 little white pieces. Okay, so I put the flower centers in all my red flowers. Okay, and now I'm going to put together the card. So you're going to have a piece of blue paper. All right, so the blue paper goes down onto the white card base. We're going to cover up the center of mine. Yours should not have that cut out. All right. And now you have these 3 pieces from that same paper. So we're going to put down the floral side, and we're just going to center it inside the blue. So all right. Okay, so it should have a blue border all the way around. Okay, and now we're not going to glue this down yet, but we are going to use it as a placeholder for the inside piece. So it really was cut from here, but we're going to flip it around and use the green side. Okay, so we're going to put that. It should nestle right inside. We are going to put this piece inside. Okay, so it'll fit right inside there as well. Now if you want to match up the pattern, nobody's really going to know. It's going to be hidden behind vellum. But there is a flower here. There's a blue flower, and it may be at the top or the bottom, but if you match those two up, it would match perfectly. But really nobody's going to know. So really we're just going to put it down. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this floral piece with this tucked in where it should be. I'm going to place in the rectangle in there, and then I'm going to pull that back out. So I have it right where I want it. Okay. And now, because we need to find a way to glue down that vellum, so we can do two things here. You can put adhesive in the blue and then stick down the vellum and then put this on top. But what I did was glue the vellum to the frame. So I'm going to put adhesive around the floral part of the frame and stick the vellum on top. And you can cut any excess. It should be a perfect fit though. Okay. Oh, look, I do have a little bit hanging over, so I'm just going to trim off that little bit. All right, and so now we're going to glue that right down. So I'm just going to go in and put the adhesive right here and then glue down my frame. Okay, so now that vellum, the adhesive is hidden, and it dulls down the pattern a little bit. It's a little busy, especially for trying to put a sentiment die cut on top. So now we're going to do just that. Let's take our sending, poke out the centers if they're not. Let me just get my placement, and then I'll go ahead and put them down. So the H kind of gets right next to the G there, and they're in the center. So I will start with hugs. Stick that down. And we'll finish by adding the floral pieces. So the two biggest flowers in each grouping I do have popped up. So I'm going to put the largest one right here. The other one, I'm going to use one of these smaller cut down one. And that one's going to go up here. And then I'm going to tuck in. So you should have two large leaves and two small. So the large ones are going to go here. Okay, and the smaller ones will go behind the smaller flower. All right. Just add in the other two. There'll be one here, and here, and here. card is finished. Okay, our next card, birthday wishes. All right. You have more little pieces here. So you should have some flower centers and some die cut flowers. So we'll go ahead and build up this part of our card first. So we're gonna put the, let me get some of this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So we're gonna put down the floral print at the top of the card. Okay. And now you have these two green strips in the blue. So what I want to do is give just a thin border of green on each side of the blue without using a full strip of green, because we try to use up our paper the best that we can. And so what I do is put glue on the back, and then I'm going to line it up, get it where I want it, and then I'll just trim off the excess. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then strip of adhesive, get it where I want it. All right, so like that, and then I'm gonna trim off those extra green bits. All right, and now this piece is gonna go right on the bottom of the card. So there is that portion. So now let's build up our flowers. So we'll start with these two large flowers. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on these. So these flowers have stitching in them, or not stitching, but they have like embossed marks. And that's what we're going to use to line them up. So I'm going to put a foam square on the back of this one, and it kind of has this V, upside down V opening. And then here on this piece, you can see where there's stitching on 3 leaves, or not stitching, it's embossing marks. So you're gonna line up like this. So where that last one ends, this one picks up and kind of goes in that V-shaped opening. And that's how it looks. Okay. So that one's done, and then it has a white center, which is this piece here. And there's no right or wrong way. We're just going to stick it on there. So that one's ready. And then you should have 2 of these pink on one side, blue on the other. We're going to use the pink side. And then you probably have a couple extra. You may have a couple extra centers. I started packing them wrong, but you can just toss them in the trash. You won't need them. Or so I'm going to put 1 in the center of one, and 1 in the center of the other. All right, so now we can put this together. So my suggestion would be, the one thing I'm realizing I don't have in my kit, the this die has like a vein part to it, a second part. So you'll just glue that onto that if you have it. If you don't, it'll be fine too. It's still a green leaf. So I'm gonna start with putting my birthday wishes down. And that way I can make sure it's gonna fit, and then I'll put the flowers around it. So the birthday wishes, we're gonna go all the way to the edge, make sure wishes is straight with the bottom. So I just looked up and realized that the whole process of putting together this card did not record. So I'm going to try to walk you through it because I don't have another kit. It's really a simple card to put together. You had a strip of the floral, so you're going to put that at the top of the card base. And then what you have is this blue strip of paper, and you have two longer, thicker green strips. And what you're going to do is glue those green strips behind the blue on the top and the bottom, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of green and trimming off the excess, and then you're going to glue that to the bottom of the card. Then what you're going to do is glue down the white birthday wishes die cut first. That way we have enough room for our floral images. So you're going to glue down that first, and then you do have some pieces to put together for the flower. So you have a large red piece and a smaller red piece of this flower. So I'm going to lift this up so we can talk about that. So on this bottom piece, you have 3 petals together that have these score marks, 1, 2, 3. And that is where you're going to line up the top piece. So this top piece has this opening, like this upside down V here opening, and that V, inside that V, those 3 pieces with the score lines will go. And so I used a foam square in the middle of that and popped that up, and then I put the white center on top. And then you should have 2 pink flowers. I think they're blue on one side, pink on the other. We used the blue or the pink. I'm not sure how well the blue matches, but that's an option if you don't mind. I put the 2 centers in. I think you may have extra centers in some of the kits. If you do, you can just dispose of those. And then you have the 2 greenery pieces, 1 long piece and 1 short piece, and you may have a vein that will go inside this. And you would just glue that on top. I didn't have one, and it's really, I'll show you on this card what the vein looks like. You would just put it in the center of the leaf. But if you don't have it, it's fine too. It just works as a leaf. So then what I did first was glue down this long strip here, made sure it was on the card. Then I put down the red flower, tucked in the leaf, and added the 2 flowers, and that completes that card. So I'm thankful it was an easy card that didn't record, if I'm going to be thankful about it, right? So sorry about that. But there are written instructions. You should be able to get through that. All right. Moving on to the next one. And we are still recording. Good. Okay. Life's little moments make the best memories. So here is that kit. All right. Always lots of little pieces. So let's go ahead and put them together. I'm going to start by just putting those white centers in the pink flowers. All right. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so all right, there's that. And then you have these blue flowers, and they kind of have no back. So I want them to be white. So you should have a couple scraps, and I'm just gonna glue this. I'm gonna glue this flower onto the scrap and then just trim away the excess with my scissors. There we go. One more. Perfect. Do the other one. And really, if you can get it in the corner, then you only have to trim on one side. All right, so now we're ready to throw this card together. We'll go together quick. So we're gonna start with this gingham, yellow gingham. It's gonna go on the top of the card. All right, and then this green is gonna go on the bottom. And if I remember right, I think it may be cut long. So we'll have to trim it. All right. I'm just gonna flip it over and trim off the excess. All right. And now this frame should nestle almost perfectly. It's almost the exact same size. So this will look like that. So I think it would be easiest to kind of see where you want it and glue this piece down first. So I'm going to do that like so. Okay, this top corner. All right, so really if you just have it just about at the bottom of that grain, you'll be good to go there. All right, and then some of your frames may still have the wax paper that we used when we die cut. So you'll want to just pull that off and get rid of it. It just helps the die release from, the die cut release from the die. Sometimes we use that. All right, so that's gonna go right on top. So I'm going to take some wet glue. Go over the top of that. Okay. And now we're gonna layer up the flowers. So you're gonna put a blue and a blue kind of off to the side like that. And I have those popped up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, I'm not gonna glue it down yet. I think I'm gonna put the greenery down first. I'm just getting them placed out. And then you should have a large one and a small one. So large, small, and the greenery. And I believe these two large ones I have puffed up, but you could put them straight down because you do have to cut those small foam squares for that. So I'm going to want my greenery coming down from the top and up from the bottom like so. So I'm going to start with the greenery. All right, and that card is complete. 2 more cards. We're in the home stretch here. So these last 2 should go together rather quickly. Like this. Daisies out. And my centers. So I'll just set the little pieces off to the side there. All right, I'm gonna start with this red paper. And that's gonna go down on the white card base. And then this pretty collage paper. Centered on the red, so you have a red border. Okay. And this little cut apart from your sheet is going to go on, and it's going to go all the way to the edge. It's not centered. You could center it, but I'm going to push it all the way to the edge. And it's about 1 inch up from the bottom of that collage paper, pattern paper. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of emphasize some flowers that are already there, and we're going to need to cut down foam squares again because I do have them popped up. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. So we need a pink one and a white one. And a red one. All right, so the white's gonna go over that white one. The red's gonna go over the red. And the pink will go, you guessed it, over the pink. And they're not perfectly matched. It makes them look more full that way. So I'm going to finish by adding the centers. So the white goes on the pink and the red, and the blue goes on to the white. And that completes that card. All right, one last card. Little tractor fun here. Happy birthday. This might be a cute card for a little boy, I thought, even. Or a farmer. So, I have this red piece of pattern paper that I have embossed with an embossing folder with gears. Now on my card, I took sandpaper and sanded off some of it to give that white distressed look. So I have a sanding block here, and I go over, emphasize it a little, that you can skip this step if you like just the plain red look. You could use ink, you could use black ink, you could use white ink. It's up to you. And I cut banner ends in the bottom. So these, I'm going to find the center. I'm going to cut up about 1/2 inch. Get longer scissors. Go from the corner to the top of that cut. Corner, top of that cut. And you have a banner. I am going to glue that down. And it will be flush with the top of the card. And you will have white on both sides. All right. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut a deeper banner here. So I'm going to go up almost 1 inch. And then corner to cut. And the same thing. And then that's going to go right on top like so. Okay. Center it. There it is. And now you have this tractor and a black piece of cardstock. So we're going to center the tractor, cut apart onto the black. And before I glue it down, I did use a little bit of Wink of Stella. You can skip this part if you want, but I went over. It's really gushy now. I went over the tractor. Trying to move some of that around. Okay. And then I'm going to glue this straight down. And it's towards the top, centered. Okay. And the last thing, we're going to cover up that farmer's market with our happy birthday banner. And I do have that up on foam. All right. Peel off the backing. All right, we're gonna center that right over that farmer's market. Make sure it's straight. And there we go. That card is complete, and so is this video. We thank you for watching today or working along. If you purchased a kit and you wanted to follow along, we thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed these cards today. This was a fun kit to work with. I did struggle a little bit, but I think in the end, I was happy with what we made. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.